I'm here with Aaron Maté, and big news out of Ukraine. Ukraine war, Zelensky advisor resigns over Dnipro remarks. So this guy was a big deal. He had a YouTube channel, and he was like a public relations guy, for a spokesperson for Zelensky's cabinet. And here's what happened. Hours after Saturday's missile strike hit an apartment building in Dnipro, Mr. Arestovych initially said it appeared that the Russian missile had fallen on the building after it was shot down by Ukrainian air defenses. What happened? Ukraine said the building was hit by a Russian missile, which it does not have the capability to shoot down and is reportedly extremely accurate. Inaccurate, sorry. Ukrainians reacted angrily to Mr. Arestovych's initial comments, with some accusing him of strengthening the position of Russian propagandists. Some Ukrainian parliamentarians signed a petition calling for Mr. Arestovych to be dismissed as a government official. He later posted a letter tendering his resignation and said he had made a fundamental error. His YouTube channel, has more than 1.6 million subscribers. That's bigger than this channel. And his videos often have more than 200,000 views. That's very good.
Wow.
Unusually for Ukrainian officials, he speaks in Russian rather than Ukrainian. Oh, maybe that's why they're suspicious. I bet you that. Before his resignation offer, his comments had been used by Russian officials to blame Kiev for the strike. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russian attacks do not strike residential buildings and suggested it was caused by Ukrainian air defenses, a conclusion he said had also been reached by some representatives of the Ukrainian side. Ukrainian officials so far have said that at least 44 people died in Saturday's strikes, with several others missing, and that there is minimal chance of finding others alive. Aaron, what do you make of this? To me, it looks like he told the truth, and then he got in trouble, because you get in trouble for telling the truth, not for lying, right?
Jimmy, there's a huge propaganda war going on right now, and you can't have people on the Ukrainian side, which is the side U.S. is supporting, telling the truth. And so the backlash he got for saying this, that it was a Ukrainian air defense missile hitting a Russian missile, was huge, and it forced him out. And he's been a key advisor to Zelensky for a very long time. So him resigning is a very big deal. And apparently, I've heard a rumor, I can't confirm this yet, but I've heard a rumor that he's already been placed on one of those kill lists that they put out.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I have to confirm it. I have not, but that's what I was told, and that's a rumor out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's true, because they put anybody on this list. You know, Roger Waters, Scott Ritter, anybody who's critical of the proxy war narrative gets targeted and gets smeared. And so it's not surprising that he gets forced to resign like this. Look, there's a history of this. Zelensky has a close friend who was his comedy partner and producer on Zelensky's comedy show before he became the president. And after Zelensky became the president and ran on a peace campaign, you know, he was going to bring peace to the Donbass and the civil war that began after the 2014 U.S.-backed coup. He appointed his friend, his name is Sergei Svoko, to a board of reconciliation, of trying to promote dialogue with the rebels in the Donbass to end the war. And so his friend Svoko is from the Donbass, so you know he's tied to that region. He knows people there. He's trying to basically bring healing to Ukraine and end the war that began in 2014 and killed thousands of people, and avoid something like we're seeing right now. So Svoko gives a speech to launch his new dialogue and reconciliation campaign. He gets 20 minutes in and he can't finish. And why? Because members of a political group tied to the Azov Battalion, which is a neo-Nazi organization incorporated into the Ukrainian military, rush the stage and attack him, call him a traitor, and they beat him. So Zelensky's friend and advisor can't even finish his speech. And Zelensky, after that, has a choice. Do I stand by my friend? And do I stand by my platform? Or do I side with the far right of Ukraine? And guess what he did? He sided with the far right of Ukraine. So his friend got fired. That was in 2020, the spring of 2020. And so it's voices like that inside Ukraine that when they speak up for peace, when they tell the truth, they get intimidated and attacked by the far right. And time and again, Zelensky has sided not with his own allies and friends, but with the far right. And so now his advisor, who was forced out for telling the truth, or for telling what he perceives to be the truth, because I don't know what actually happened in that missile strike, I should say. I don't know. I don't know if his account is accurate or not. But for saying something that goes against the state line, he had to go.
People and all critical media has been banned in Ukraine. So,
yep.
I mean this is what Americans are cheering and funding. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
And for what, Jimmy? You know, all that had to happen. All that had to happen was that Ukraine, Russia was asking that Ukraine declare itself neutral, which is what, by the way, a vast majority of Ukrainians have wanted for many years. If you look at polls, there's never been consistent majority support for joining NATO. It's a very divisive issue. So Russia was basically asking that, like, Ukraine respect the will of not even of Russia, but of a sizable percentage of its own population, and avoid a situation that U.S. officials have been warning about for a long time, which is that they've said there's cables of this going back to 2007 from William Burns, who was then the U.S. ambassador to Moscow, saying that Russia was warning the U.S. that if Ukraine joins NATO, that would cause a civil war inside Ukraine and would force Russia to intervene and take a side. And Russia didn't want to do that. So the U.S. has known for a long time that this is a red line for Russia. So the U.S. could have respected that and just let Ukraine be neutral, and respect the Minsk Accords, which was a peace agreement that was reached to end the civil war that began after 2014, which Ukraine signed. So Russia was basically asking that Ukraine and the U.S. pledge neutrality for Ukraine and respect the peace agreement that it already signed. It's not a big ask. Is it worth sacrificing all these lives just to defy Russia for that? I don't think it is. And the fact that people inside the Ukrainian government now have to get fired and silenced for telling the truth when that truth pierces the narrative needed to sustain this proxy war and keep it going says just what a dangerous moment we're in and how inconvenient the facts are to this proxy war.
Aaron Maté can be found at mate.substack.com. Everybody check that out. Aaron, thanks for joining us. Thanks for that info.
Great to see you, JD. Thanks for having me.
All right, and great job, by the way, last 2 weeks filling in for the show. It was a great job. Appreciate you doing that.
It was an honor. I love the show. I love the community of fans that you have, Jimmy. It was an honor for me to take part. So thank you for trusting me to do that.
Fantastic. Everybody, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles in January and February in Los Angeles. And then we're going to Tempe, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets and become a premium member while you're there.